Hi everyone, this is Amir Khan and today I am going to teach you about the topic human digestive system. Now we will describe each and every terminology which will be used in this topic and now we will start. So first of all I would like to tell you the digestive system or the alimentary canal which start from the buccal cavity and which is the opening of the digestive system and in with the anus. And first of all we have to describe that what is the digestion. First of all I would like to tell you that what is the digestion. In simple word we can describe that digestion means when a complex food whatever we eat in day-to-day life, that is a complex form of food, so that should be converted into a simpler form, and that breakdown takes place with the help of the different enzymes, and the enzymes help them to break down into a simpler form. So the definition of this digestion may be that when food particles break down into a simpler form with the help of different enzymes. This whole process is known as a digestion. Suppose that this is a food which are in complex food. First of all, I would like to tell you the meaning of complex food. Like we know that a food contains a different type of nutrients like carbohydrate, fats, like protein and so on. So these are the complex food, and that could be converted into a simpler food, like the carbohydrate break down into a saccharide, which is the complex form of the sugar, and that will convert it into a starch, and the fat into a fatty acid, and the protein into a amino acid, which is basically a simpler form of a food. And the carbohydrate, fat and protein, all these are the complex form. So now we will start that how really the digestion takes place in the human body. So first of all, I would like to tell you that the digestion start from the buccal cavity itself. In the buccal cavity, the digestion starts, and how the digestion starts. First of all, whenever we take a food particles through our mouth, we start chewing with the help of our teeth. Our teeth contain several type of teeth like incisor, canine, molar and premolar. So each and every teeth have a different type of function. Like incisor help in the cutting, and canine help in the tearing, and premolar help in the chewing, and molar help in the grinding. So all the teeth have a different type of function according to the food particles, and all the food particles, when they are break down into a smaller part, then a saliva is present into the buccal cavity, which are found in the lower jaw of a mouth, buccal cavity. So these salivary gland have many type of functions. Like salivary gland contain a different type of minerals, and it also contains a salivary amylase, which is an enzyme amylase. And if you see that the salivary gland also contain a type of pigment, that is a lysozyme. So we will now describe that what are the functions of these components. So the minerals help in the maintaining the electrolytes, which are also electrolytes like sodium and potassium, sodium and so many other minerals also formed in the electrolytes, in the form of electrolytes. Salivary amylase help in the breakdown of a food particle into a starch. The food particle which contains a starch, then the amylase will act on that sub food particles and it will convert into a starch. And the next one is the lysosome, which basically helps in the killing of pathogen means when we take the food particles that might contain a certain type of bacteria and other pathogens. So the lysosome is a type of substance which have the property to kill the pathogens which are present into the food particles. So in the salivary gland, as we can see that they contain a different type of electrolyte, salivary amylase, which is an enzyme which act on the starch, and the lysosomes which help in killing the pathogen. So when all these activities happen into the buccal cavity, then the food particles, there is a mucus is also there. The mucus is also there, which help in the lubrication of food particles, and that after the lubrication of the food particles, that our buccal cavity push the food particles into a oesophagus, which is also known as a food pipe. So when the food particles will go into the food particle in the form of, when the food particles reaches in the parts of the oesophagus, then there is a contraction and relaxation motion take place, and that is known as a perisyllatic movement. Perisyllatic movement means when the food pipe contract and relax, and the contraction and relaxation take place into the food pipe, which helps in protecting the lining of the stomach. So suppose that if the perisyllatic movement will not take place into the oesophagus, then what will happen? Then the food particle will directly goes into the stomach, on the wall of the stomach, and that might be injured. So that is why the contraction and relaxation motion take place into the oesophagus. When the food particles and inside the food particles, there is no digestion take place, neither there is any type of enzymes are found in the oesophagus. Directly the food particles will directly enter into the stomach, and where there is a certain enzymes are present, like when the food particles reaches at the surface of the stomach, which is a J-shaped like structure, basically it contains a pepsinogen, which is a pre-enzyme. Pepsinogen is an active enzyme which are present into the stomach, and there is a concentration of HCl is also found in the stomach, and there is a membrane which is known as a mucus. If we talk about the all function of which are present in the stomach, like pepsinogen and HCl and mucus. Mucus basically help when the HCl released from the lining of the stomach. The HCl basically are present into the stomach, and their function, the function of the HCl is basically to kill the pathogen or to kill the microbes, And second function of HCl is that the HCl help to activate the pepsinogen which are in active form. Means when the medium of the stomach will change from the base to acidic, then the pepsinogen will activate it into a pepsin. So we can say that the active form of the pepsinogen is called pepsin. That is called the pepsin, which is an active form, and that the pepsinogen only will activate it only when there is a acidic medium present into the stomach. Means there will be when the HCl will release, then the pepsinogen will convert it into a pepsin, and the pepsin take all that food particle which contain a protein. So the pepsin digests the protein or break down the protein which are present into the food particles. So we can see that the pepsinogen basically help, which is an active form, and after the releasing the HCl, that will convert it into a pepsin, and pepsin will digest the food particles which have the protein molecules. And the second one is the mucus. Mucus is just like a membrane which is found on the lining layers of the stomach, which basically help the lignin of the stomach from the overflow of the HCl. Means when there is a concentration, as we can see that the HCl is not a weak acid, that is a strong acid, so it can burn easily if there is no protective layer will be found on the surface of the stomach. So there is a protective layer that is called the mucus, which behaves like a protective layer, and it protects the stomach lignin from the overflow of the HCl. And you can see that there is a mucus is present. So basically that is the function of pepsin and HCl and mucus. Then after that you can see that the food particle will reach at the part of the small intestine. The small intestine basically is the first part of the small intestine is known as the duodenum. It is a part of duodenum. So when the food particles reaches at the duodenum contains a different type of enzyme. Like duodenum contains a different type of enzyme, and a gland will secrete an enzyme that is called the intestinal gland. It is called the intestinal gland. Intestinal gland means the gland which are present on the surface of the small intestine, that is called the intestinal gland. And the same as this, there is a I'm going to rub this. So here is a leaf-like structure just below the stomach, which is called a pancreas. That is called the pancreas. Basically, the pancreas is the endocrine gland as well as the exocrine gland. Why the pancreas is known as the endocrine and exocrine? Because it secretes a hormone as well as enzyme. Hormones as well as enzyme. Hormones and enzyme. So the pancreas not only secrete the enzyme but also it secrete a hormone. If you talk about the pancreas, which type of hormone secrete? So we can write insulin. Insulin is basically secreted by the pancreatic gland or pancreas, and the enzymes which are secreted by the pancreas, which are as follows. So the pancreas basically secrete three type of enzymes like trypsin, lipase and amylase. So you can see that there are basically three type of enzymes which are secreted by the leaf-like structure, which is known as the pancreas. So trypsin basically help to digest the protein. So you can see that here the trypsin also acting on the protein, and the pepsin which we are secreting inside the stomach is also acting on the same protein. So why there is a need of the protein to be digested after the digestion of the stomach, inside the stomach? So we can give the answer that a food particles is not stored for a long period of time into the stomach. That is why some amount of the proteins are undigestible. So that is why the trypsin digests the protein, and trypsin helps to digest the completion of the protein, and the lipase, which is basically help in the digestion of the fats, which help in the digestion of the fats, and the amylase, and this amylase is known as basically a pancreatic amylase. It is a pancreatic amylase which also digests the starch which has not been digested by the salivary amylase. Then the pancreatic amylase will digest the starch, and then after that, in the duodenum part, a small duct is also attached, which is basically attached to the bile, which is also attached to the gallbladder, Basically, that is known as the gallbladder. A gallbladder contains a bile pigment. Bile pigment basically helps in changing the medium of the food particles which are present into the duodenum. So the bile pigment contains a bile juice, which is secreted into directly into the small intestine. So when the food particles reaches into the duodenum, then the bile pigment is released, that contains the bile juice, and after the releasing or segregation of the bile juice into the small intestine, then it will convert the food particles into the food particles will convert into the acidic medium. Acidic medium will convert into a basic medium, or we can say that into the alkaline medium. So when the bile pigment only contain a certain type of pigment that is known as a bile juice, and similarly it also contains like the bilirubin, albumin, which also have been maintaining maintaining the level of pH level of the food particles. Then after that, the intestinal gland will secrete a certain type of hormone. The intestinal gland means a small intestine will secrete a certain type of enzyme that is known as the maltase, maltase, and basically maltase act on the maltose and lactose. Lactase help in the converting into the food particles into the lactose, and maltose and lactose are the basically enzymes which is separated by the intestinal gland. And lactose, maltose, fructose, all these food particles are converted into a simpler form like the glucose and glycogen. So the maltose and lactose also converted into a simpler form. So when the food particles will convert into a glucose form, then all the food particles will be a very thin layer of projection-like structure are found on the surface of the wall of the small intestine. The small intestine contains a different type of the small projection that is known as a villi or villi. Which is basically attached to the blood capillaries, which is directly attached to the blood capillaries, When the glucose molecule passes from the surface of the small intestine, then the blood capillaries absorb all the glucose those molecules can send it to the blood. And where there is when the glucose molecules are stored in the form of, like you can see that like AMP, that is known as the adenosine monophosphate, will convert into a adenosine diphosphate, and then after that it will convert into a adenosine triphosphate. And when there is a complete food particles, so we can say that the complete food particles take place into the small intestine. Further, there is no need to digest the food particles, because all the food particles have been digested by the small intestine. So the small intestine will digest all the food particles, and then there is some amount of the waste material, or you can say that substances which cannot be further be digested, so they are sent to the parts of the large intestine, and inside the large intestine there is no digestion take place, except the digestion of certain medicine and the digestion of the minerals and water take place, and the mucus is also found on the wall of the small intestine, large intestine, which help in the lubrication of the facial matter. And through the large intestine, all the food faeces matters are collected into a anus, rectum, and then after that, when the rectum is full, then the facial matter will be directly passes from the body in the nitrogenous form. So from the passing the facial matter from the anus, then the digestion will completed. Then the digestion will be completed, and the digestion basically started from the mouth and completed into a small intestine. That's all. Thank you. Have a nice day.